Hello, this is Dr. Grande. Today's question is, can I analyze the controversy surrounding the actor Stephen Seagal? Just a reminder, I'm not diagnosing anybody in this video, only speculating about what could be happening in a situation like this. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, subscribe to my channel, and consider supporting me on Patreon. I will put the link to Patreon in the description for this video. First, I'll go through the background of Stephen Seagal, then offer my analysis. Stephen Seagal was born in Lansing, Michigan on April 10, 1952. His father was of Jewish descent and taught mathematics at a high school, and his mother was of Irish descent and worked as a medical technician. His mother said that Stephen suffered from asthma and was frail during their time in Michigan. His family moved to Fullerton, California when Stephen was 5 years old. Stephen graduated from high school and briefly attended college. In the early 1970s, Stephen moved to Japan. Evidently, he had been impressed with Japanese culture after meeting an older Japanese man at a martial arts studio. Stephen returned to California in 1974 and met the daughter of an Aikido master. Aikido is a Japanese martial art known for its elegance, more so than being effective in combat. Stephen traveled with the daughter to Osaka, Japan, and they married the next year. He became an instructor at a school owned by his wife's family. Stephen returned to the United States and opened a martial arts studio in New Mexico. He traveled back to Japan for a short time and then returned to the United States in 1983. He opened another studio in California. Stephen left his wife and married an actress named Kelly LeBrock. They divorced in 1986. Stephen remarried in 2009. He has 7 children from 4 different relationships. Stephen started working as an actor in 1987 and starred in a series of movies: Above the Law in 1988, Hard to Kill and Marked for Death, both of which were released in 1990, and Out for Justice in 1991. Stephen hosted an episode of Saturday Night Live in April 1991. He is regarded as the worst host in the history of the show and was banned from the show. Stephen starred in the movie Under Siege in 1992, then tried to get into directing in 1994 with the movie On Deadly Ground. The movie title appears to be a reference to his directing ability. Stephen also starred in this movie. His character offered a long speech about the environment, which was totally out of place for an action movie and highly disrespectful to the audience. Stephen was in the movie Under Siege 2: Dark Territory in 1995, and he had a smaller role in the 1996 movie Executive Decision. Stephen would go on to star in The Glimmer Man that same year and Fire Down Below in 1997. In 2001, he was in a movie titled Exit Wounds, which coincidentally could refer to the experience of people trying to escape the theater after realizing how bad the movie was. Stephen would go on to be featured in a number of unsuccessful movies, some of which were direct-to-video releases. In 2009, Stephen Seagal was in his own reality television series on the A&E network called Stephen Seagal Lawman. The show followed Stephen's adventures as a reserve deputy in Jefferson Parish, Louisiana. Not only was Stephen a deputy sheriff in Louisiana, he later became a deputy sheriff in Arizona and Texas. Stephen has been involved in a number of business ventures, like trying to market an energy drink, manufacturing firearms, recording music, and writing a self-published conspiracy thriller novel. Stephen also continues to engage in activity he refers to as acting. Now moving to my analysis. Here are my thoughts on a few items that stood out to me with Stephen Seagal. Item number 1. Stephen has been accused by several people of various offenses. He has been accused of sexual harassment by several actresses. Some people made even more serious allegations. Several stunt performers claim that Stephen intentionally struck them while filming movie scenes. In 2020, Stephen settled with the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission after failing to disclose payments he received for promoting a cryptocurrency offering. He had to return $157,000 that was paid to him and pay that same amount as a penalty. Item number 2. Stephen Seagal claimed that he was trained by the man who invented Aikido. The difficulty with this claim is that the founder died in 1969, prior to Stephen visiting Japan. Maybe Stephen was trained from beyond the grave, which ironically fits in with the three-word title formula used for so many of his early movies. Item number 3, Stephen had Irish and Jewish heritage, but at various times he claimed to be Japanese, Russian, and Italian. He even claimed to speak those languages. It makes sense that he could speak some Japanese, considering he lived there, but there is no video or other evidence of him speaking those languages. Stephen appears to be particularly fascinated with Russia. He was granted Russian citizenship in 2016 and is friends with Vladimir Putin. Stephen said that he would like to consider Putin as his brother. Vladimir Putin has distanced himself from Stephen Seagal. Item number 4, Stephen claimed that he helped train CIA agents in hand-to-hand combat and even went on field missions to help them out. When Stephen's not busy training CIA agents, he's apparently training UFC fighters, although there is a lack of evidence to support this as well. I can picture a number of CIA agents standing around contemplating a mission when one of them says, "We really need somebody with hand-to-hand combat experience to train us." Another agent responds, "How about that terrible actor from the 1990s who lies all the time and can't control his temper? He would be perfect." Item number 5. Stephen claimed that when he was living in Japan in the 1970s, he encountered a white dog with no collar who lived with him for a few days. Stephen believed the dog was mystical. On the last day the dog lived with him, it started barking furiously, which alerted Stephen that his martial arts studio was on fire. Stephen and a few of his friends bravely put out the fire and saved the studio. After this, the dog disappeared and Stephen never saw it again. It would appear that the mystical dog really helped Stephen. Unfortunately for Stephen, the dog never returned to save his acting career. I guess the mystical dog was like, "I'm a dog, not a miracle worker." Something else that occurs to me here, how does Stephen know that the dog didn't set the fire? That would explain why it disappeared. Item number 6, Stephen Seagal is a terrible actor who almost always played the same character. The characters were usually retired special operatives, like a former CIA agent, Navy SEAL, or Special Forces. His characters were often nearly invulnerable. The movies mostly feature Stephen's character easily beating up comically simplistic villains, often played by people who suffered from the same acting limitations as Stephen. None of the confrontations were even close. Stephen's character was always victorious by a wide margin. Item number 7, what is Stephen's personality profile? There is no way to know for sure, but based on his public appearances and what has been reported, he is high in openness to experience. He has mid-range conscientiousness, mid-range extroversion, below-average agreeableness, and average neuroticism. What really stands out with Stephen's personality would be his narcissistic characteristics. Stephen tends to lie frequently, is insecure, grandiose, condescending, lacks empathy, and does not appear to realize how he is perceived by others. He maintains this overly masculine superhero persona who is never wrong, never loses, and never makes mistakes. There's a sense that these characters represent who Stephen wants to be or who he believes himself to be. Like the movies express his fantasies. He is this highly trained, mysterious covert operative who never loses a fight and dominates everyone around him. Some martial artists have done well as actors. For example, Bruce Lee, Chuck Norris, Jean-Claude Van Damme, and Jackie Chan. The difference between those actors and Stephen Seagal is that they were generally able to get along with people and did not exaggerate their accomplishments. There was a degree of humility that does not exist with Stephen Seagal. Those actors understood that they were playing parts in movies. Stephen was pretty much always playing himself. He could not compartmentalize the tough guy persona. Instead, he became enmeshed with his fantasy. Now moving to my final thoughts. Here I want to talk about the notorious three-word title format that was used in several early Stephen Seagal movies. There's the sense that they were designed to connect Stephen Seagal to the film in a catchy way. Like the advertisements could say, Stephen Seagal is above the law, or Stephen Seagal is out for justice. He, of course, was the big draw for those movies, so this was a clever way to promote the films. Eventually, the titles drifted away from this format, but I think there were a few missed opportunities. Like I have a few additional movie ideas for Stephen Seagal. A few examples: a movie about a poor actor who repeatedly exaggerates his ability, titled Above the Truth. Then there is the movie Unable to Act, a film about a martial artist who doesn't realize he is a horrible actor. An alternate title for that movie would be Direct to Video. And my favorite, a movie which explains the dangers of continuing to act when not suited for that job, Overdue for Retirement. With a slogan like, Stephen Seagal is overdue for retirement, that movie would be a surefire success. Those are my thoughts on the controversy surrounding Stephen Seagal. Please put any opinions and thoughts in the comment section. They always generate an interesting dialogue. As always, I hope you found my analysis of this topic to be informative. Thanks for watching.